Hello, friends. Right. The Ragtags are back in Sigil, and unsurprisingly there is a lot going on there. Stakes are raised, consequences are rendered, reckonings are, reckoned. It's almost as though there was leveling up of everything, wasn't there? So, are you ready to hear the rest of the tale? Then let us commence. Let's sync back up with our intrepid friends. They're still speaking with the wizard Lysandra, aka the Gateseeker, at the Sleeping Dragon Inn. She had dropped a lot of leads, and frankly, bad news on everyone, talking about an affliction that was cascading through portals across the multiverse, and that would, probably, ultimately, lead to the end of everything. Oh! And there was a sullen, dark-clothed Aasimar terrorist running around Sigil destroying portals that may or may not be related to all that. And Lysandra suspected there was a mole in the Nexium Argentis, the incredibly powerful mage circle she belonged to, that was helping the terrorist and her allies or disciples or zealots. The cage breakers, they were calling themselves. I'll take a moment to remind you all that Sigil is often known as the Cage. During the conversation, Varys decided to send a message to the Aasimar. The enigmatic woman hadn't been big on words in their first encounter in the Nem Ozani quarter, but it was worth a shot. Varys sent, "Hey, remember battling on a giant marble hand inside that god's dream? I now suspect you're the good guys. Let's talk. You name where when." That 25-word limit can sometimes be, limiting. Still, definitely got the point across, right? Surprisingly, a few moments later there was a response.
Yes. I remember. Good. Evil. They are useless to me now. This city cut the heart from me. It is time I return the favor.
Collie Shangles. Sullen. Dark. Intense. Textbook Aasimar terrorist. Good use of the 25-word limit, too. Her message feels like something that doesn't tell us much, but maybe over time, we'll see it reveals everything. I don't know. Maybe. At that point, the Ragtags asked Lysandra if she knew of any way or anyone who might help them regain and deal with their memories, and the lost time from their, let's just call it, abductions. The Gateseeker said that indeed she knew of someone, the high elf wizard Camus, whom the companions had met upon returning from Telene a few weeks earlier. She would inquire with him and let everyone know what might be done. With that, they took their leave from Lysandra and the Sleeping Dragon, heading for the shops of the Market Ward. On the way, Varys sent a message to the ecstatic dwarf prophet Garramundi, wherever he was, asking if he knew anything more about the doors he had mentioned in his rantings and inquired where the dwarf was currently. Garramundi's response was surprisingly lucid and calm, though he admitted that he couldn't be sure the sending wasn't the usual voices he heard in his mind, or a new one entirely. He told Varys that he hadn't learned or heard anything new about the doors, and that he was hiding in the catacombs. After some shopping, the friends visited the gnome scientist Dr. Professor Quentin Jamin Welling Heatherton at his research space to see if they could get him to speed up the project they had him working on. That is the Dimensional Frequency Analyzer, or, well, something like that. During the Dr. Professor's demonstration of the device, he coincidentally discovered that Braze, Drogon, Regal and Varys, in addition to their own various different dimensional frequencies, all shared a second frequency. And this frequency was also the same as the one Welling Heatherton had scanned on the mysterious scroll case and, perhaps most puzzlingly, the ectoplasm found at the crime scene where the solar egg had been stolen from. Yeah, that's a lot of strangeness in it. The Dr. Professor told the Ragtags they could pick up their toy the next day, when he would have it finished and ready. After passing a quiet night in their suites at the Gentle Snare, the next morning there was a rap at the door. When Regal answered it, a rather intense and overall sad-seeming halfling delivered a message to the Ragtags that their good friend Balg the gregarious Minotaur was inviting them to breakfast at the singular hobbit pub, Bits and Bobs. Of course, Balg was overjoyed to see the Ragtags when they arrived and took a seat at the Minotaur's breakfast feast table. After only partially mocking the friend's whole Heroes of Sylvania title, the convivial Minotaur mentioned that he had another job for them. With a bit of prodding, Balg revealed that the job was a heist, and as those go, it was a massive one. Balg's boss, the beholder crime lord known as Great Herrigal, was looking for a team to pull a train robbery. Not any train, mind you, but the Concordant Express, an interplanar train dutifully operated by Modrons that delivers cargo and passengers throughout the plains. Apparently, once a week, it carries a huge cache of treasure, and Great Herrigal wanted that money. The Ragtags chewed on that for a bit, and there was no rush or pressure to accept the job just yet, as the shipment of treasure was a weekly occurrence. Still, it was a huge job, in many ways their biggest yet, one that could get them a lot of attention, both good and bad. So, it made sense to mull this one over a bit, yeah? Balg also shared his concern over the growing tensions on the streets of the Hive between various criminal factions, specifically between his own comrades in the House of the Unbroken Rings, aka the Ringers, and the magically inclined syndicate colloquially known as the Mage Mob. According to Balg, the pot was going to boil over soon, and an all-out gang war would be the result. Finishing breakfast and taking their leave of Balg, Drogon, Varys and Regal headed back to see the Doctor Professor and pick up their weird game-changing, and let's just say it, game-breaking dimensional frequency analyzer, while Unya, Brakes and Devrina visited several libraries, archives and temples to do research on Darkon, looking for any information in advance of their impending visit to the enigmatic domain of dread. After some time spent in study, and drowning out the noise of contradictory and fantastical-sounding reports, Unya was able to learn a few things about their destination. The once unified domain of Darkon now stands fractured, divided into 4 distinct regions by encroaching mists known as the Shroud. These regions were the Jagged Coast, Lichgate, the Mistlands, and Rexcrown. Each night, the Shroud erodes Darkon's borders, consuming all in its path. Those fleeing the phenomenon report strange shapes and figures within. What happens to the lands claimed by the Shroud is a mystery, and none who enter it ever return. The appearance of the Shroud and subsequent division of the land occurred following the mysterious disappearance of Azalin Rex, Darkon's long-reigning monarch, during an event known as the Hour of Ascension. In the wake of Azalin's vanishing, an ominous red star called the King's Tear appeared in the sky, remaining motionless as the sun and moon passed behind it daily. Since the disappearance, the Kargat, Darkon's secret police, maintain a strong presence in the nation's largest cities, Martira Bay and Ilaluk, some would say too strong. Meanwhile, a grim phenomenon plagues the land. Each night, the corpses of those who died that day rise as mindless undead, prompting locals to swiftly cremate their recently departed to prevent this macabre transformation. So, yeah, about what you'd expect for a place that is also a domain of dread. That night, Minko had the dream. Or, well, his version of it. The resolute monk found himself wandering around the strange alien facility. He had escaped, he assumed. The facility was impossibly massive and endless, and though he sometimes felt that there was some sort of presence or entity pursuing him, he lost track of time and didn't come across any other living beings. Eventually, he found a strange door aperture that he opened. The entrance opened up to a strange room that was very obviously somewhere else entirely. The Minko who experienced this moment had no idea where the room opened up to, but the Minko who was having the dream recognized the room immediately as Brace had described it to him in great detail. It was the suite of rooms the Ragtags had occupied in Tor Neef when they had accepted Morgilla the Black Swan's hospitality for one night. That was odd, to say the least. The Minko, who had experienced all of this, felt that he should not go through the portal, that there was some kind of danger or uncertainty involved that wasn't worth the risk, so he moved on. Over the course of, Minko couldn't say how long he was loose and wandering the place, but he came across a few other of the door apertures, and what was behind them were no less perplexing and, yes, weird. One seemed to open into an odd sage's sanctum that was on a strange world or dimension where the laws of nature seemed to be turned on their head. Another opened up to a glitching red world, though it was not Telene. Another opened to a shadowy, ruined, nightmarish city. A city that had similar architecture and design as the facility he was trapped in. Then, perhaps oddest of all, he opened a door that he knew went into Brace's mind. He didn't know how he knew, but he just did. And always his instincts and intuition stopped him from even attempting to go through the portals. Minko continued to try and stay alive and find a viable way out, but eventually he found himself stunned by some sort of energy wave and heard a being approach who said,
"By the god brain themselves. Ah, yes, your tenacity. My calculations predicted it, and here you are. My word. We mustn't go playing around the airlocks and the doors to the outside. Oh, no, my scrumptious. I wouldn't recommend a trip to the surface, my delicacy. It will tear your mind to pieces, let alone what harsh treatment it will have in store for that beautiful body I enhanced for you. Oh, no. No. Probably not. It'll be time for your big departure soon enough. Now, let's get you all comfortable and compliant and unconscious, my pretty morsel, so we can make all the necessary adjustments. There, just let it happen. That's it. That's it.
Minko awoke from the dream and disentangled himself from Brace, and together they roused everyone and began discussing it collectively with them. Just then, there was a knock at the door, and the Ragtags were informed that they had more guests waiting for them in the bar. Descending the stairs, the friends saw that there were 4 figures waiting for them. It was 4 members of the Mage Mob, 3 of whom we have all met already, and one of those the eloquent, though intimidating, faceman of the group, who said that they had come in peace and that they all needed to have a talk, and that his boss was looking to offer the Ragtags a job. I am quite interested to see how this will all glom out. How about you?